Good afternoon, Shivam. Okay, guys, you are able to hear me properly? Just give me quick confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good evening, all of you. Let's start with today's session. Now, in the last session, we were till not bitwise, Boolean logical operator, right? Now today we will take some part of input output. Okay, output that we have already studied. Input, how to accept input. So one way of accepting input, that is through command line, I have already taught you in the past. Another few ways are there. One more way we will see, and we'll try to write some more examples using some control structures, loops and all. Okay. The input output in Java is done in the form of streams. Getting? That is the specialty, that in Java input output is always done in the form of stream. Now I will say, what do you mean by stream? Right? So stream, in simple terms, you can say it is sequence of bytes. Getting? It's a sequence of byte, and that sequence may be coming from input device to your program, or it is going from your program to some output. Getting? So you can say stream is just what? Stream is sequence of bytes or characters. Now you may have a question like bytes and char. Is there a difference? Yes, in Java there is a difference between a byte stream and a character stream. Getting? It is somewhat like binary data and the text data. Like binary file, text file, if you might have studied in C. Now for time being, just remember stream is sequence of bytes or characters. Getting? Now if that stream is coming from some source to program, then we will call it as input stream. Okay? That is stream, we call it as input stream. Okay, if it is coming from source to your program. Now source can be anything. Source can be a file, source can be a keyboard. Okay guys, source can be a remote machine also. Getting? It can be a distributed communication, like from other machine you're communicating with this machine. So therefore the source can be some remote machine also, source can be a keyboard also, source can be a file also, anything. But when the stream is source to program, then we'll call it as input stream. And same way there is output stream also, when it is from program to destination. Okay, now destination can be anything again. Destination can be a monitor, destination can be a file, destination can be a remote machine, anything. But when that sequence of bytes are going from program to destination, we'll call it as output stream. Getting? So stream can be input stream or stream can be output stream. Okay. Now from Java perspective, what is a stream? Just for your understanding, I told you a stream is a sequence of bytes. But from object-oriented point of view, what is a stream? So you can say it's an abstraction. It's an abstraction between the source program or program destination. Getting? You can call a stream as abstraction between the source program, means the source, not the source program, source. Now source means from where the data is going to come. The data can be keyboard, data can be file, data can be remote machine, anything. But when the data is coming from source to program or program to destination, so there is some interface between them, and that is stream. So you can say stream, getting, acts, or stream is an abstraction between source program or program destination. You understanding? Now you'll say, what does that abstraction means? So it is an object. Okay, it's an object which acts as an interface between this source and a program destination. Getting? And that object will take care of how to read the data at a low level or how to write the data at the low level. You don't have to bother about it, and that's the reason it's called as abstraction. Why we are calling it as abstraction means you're understanding. That is, your program is unaware about how the data is getting read from the source or how the data is getting written on the destination. That low level things are kept hidden to us. You understanding? You just have to create an object which will act as an interface and just call the methods of that object. You understanding? You just have to create an object of the appropriate stream, and the methods of that object will do the low level work. You don't have to bother about how to do the reading from the source or how to do the writing to the destination. Who will take the care of it? That abstraction. Meaning you're understanding that abstraction means what? It is an object which acts as an interface between source program or program destination. Pictorially I'll try to show you, but it is an object, and that object, it will be object of appropriate class. Obviously you know now, you know object oriented programming. The object is a variable of some class. Class acts like a data type, and objects are variables of that data type. In the past lectures we have discussed about object oriented programming concept. So you know objects play the role of variable and class play the role of data type. Getting? The objects take memory. They will be a copy of some class. Which class? I'll tell you. But objects, getting, acts as an interface between the source and the program or program and the destination. Meaning why it is called abstract, you got it, no? Getting? The methods of this object will take care of the low level dealing. Programmer doesn't have to bother about how to deal at low level. Getting? Means how to read the data from the source or how to give the data to the destination. That burden your program is not having, or the programmer is not having. It will be taken care by the methods of this object. Getting? The methods take care of low level handling of input output. You understanding? Means you don't worry that how it will read the value from the remote socket. Remote socket means remote machine. How it will read it from the keyboard or how it will read it from the file. All that things are implemented in these methods. Your job is just to create the object and call the method. Getting? And pass the appropriate values, whatever are needed, collect the result, what has come. How the methods are doing the work is abstract to us. Getting? That is hidden to us. Getting? I hope you are understanding what I'm telling. Next, okay, and this only I'll try to show you in a pictorial way, that this is your program, okay, this is your Java program, and there are different sources. Now sources can be what, as I said, it can be a keyboard. Yes or no, guys? It can be a keyboard. Okay, I'm giving KBD. Okay, it can be a remote machine, or it can be a disk file. Okay, or the remote machine. Okay, socket coding in advanced Java, you'll learn it, don't worry. Correct? So it can be a socket, anything, but let the source be that remote machine, or let the source be the file, or let the source be keyboard. Your program doesn't have to bother about how to do the low level dealing, like how to read the values from the keyboard, how to read it from the file, how to read it from the remote machine. There is an object, getting, and that object is only called as a stream object, which I have told you here. See, here I have already mentioned that stream is an abstraction between the source program and the program destination. That is, the stream acts as an interface between your source program and the program destination. So that stream is an object, and that object acts as an interface between the source program, and the methods of this object will take care of how to do the reading. Getting? And same way, suppose the output is your standard monitor, okay, or the output can be file, you're storing something in the file, or the output can be the remote machine, that is again socket. Correct? So the output can go to the standard device, that is standard monitor, file, or socket. But who is the stream? That stream is an object. Getting? It's an abstraction between your program destination, or between the source and the program. And the methods of that object will take care of, getting, how to write the data or how to read the data. You understanding, guys? Means how to read the data, the methods of this object will take care of. You don't bother about how to deal with this low level things. You understanding? What I'm trying to tell you is, I hope, clear to you. And then the next important point what I want to tell you is that input output in Java is consistent. Now consistent meaning what? That also I'll try to clear it. Consistent meaning, let the source or destination be anything. You understanding, guys? Let the source be anything, let the destination be anything. The method of reading and the method of writing remains same. And that is the beauty of Java, because it's an object-oriented programming language. And here it is following one more principle of object-oriented programming, that is polymorphism. Getting, guys? Here it will follow the concept of polymorphism. Now you'll say, what is polymorphism? You can just remember one name and many actions. Means the name is same, but the actions are different, and depending on the context in which it is used. Getting? I'll try to explain it more elaborated way. See here. So IO in Java is consistent. That is, let the source or destination be anything. The method of reading or writing remains same. That is the beauty. Like if you have studied C, so in C, for different source and destination, the methods were different. Like if you want to write data on the monitor, there is printf. Yes or no, guys? If you want to send any data to the monitor, there is printf. But if you want to send it to the file, there is fprintf. You understanding, guys? If you wanted to send it to the standard error device, there is perr. So there are different functions for different destinations. Same way for sources also. Like if you want to read it from the keyboard, there is scanf, but from the file there is fscanf. You understanding? And in C also there is socket coding, but it is two different concept. Socket programming is a total very difficult case in C, which is too easy in Java and easiest in Python. You can say like that. Okay, but what I want to say, in those languages, if your source or destination change, the method change. But in Java, let the source or destination be anything, the method of reading and writing remains same. That is the speciality. And this feature, this point contributes to polymorphism. Polymorphism is one very fascinating feature of object-oriented programming language, which says that one name and different forms. Correct? Means the name is same, that is F. But the same name F may run different actions. You understanding? Depending on the context in which it is used. Means which object is invoking it, based on that the methods can be different. That is polymorphic. You understanding? The best example is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. If you see if you just go through Google and see in the Wikipedia or anything, the sequence of movies which he has done variety of movies. So depending on the movie context, he is different. Getting? Means the entity is Amitabh Bachchan only, but the roles are different depending on the movie. So he is polymorphic. He is polymorphic. Why? Because he has shown different actions, one name and different actions or different forms depending on the movie context. You understanding? In some movie he is father, some movie he is husband, some movie he is a hero, somewhere he is a police. Getting? There is a cop. So different actions he has shown, but the entity is Amitabh Bachchan. You understanding what I am trying to tell you? But depending on the movie context, the actions are different. Same way in the programming also. Okay, so that is the very important concept which you have to remember, that here the input output is consistent. Consistent meaning the same method you will use for reading or writing, let the destination or the source change. You understanding? Means let it be file, let it be keyboard. The method will be same. Now this you may think like he is telling all theoretically. I'll now come to programmatic aspect. Now through programming I'll try to justify how it is consistent. Getting? Now already I have mentioned that in Java input outputting you can do it by many ways. One way now I am going to tell you, and one in the past we have studied. I hope in the past, one way, that is through command line arguments. You remember? Or no? Through command line arguments also I showed you how to accept the input. And we took one example of max 3. Yes, if you remember, just please give me the confirmation. If you remember. No? Any of you? I guess Shreya and Sanket and all, they must be remembering because they are one of the regular students. One program in the past I took. We passed command line arguments and we found out max of 3. You remember? We wrote like this: Java max 3, and then I gave some values from here only.
Yes, sir.
Getting?
Yes,
From
sir.
command line arguments I gave. Then I told that these all are converted into strings, and then we have to convert the string into integer by some wrapper class methods. Getting? Then we converted to integer, then we found max, and then we printed that answer here. Okay, so let it be. If you remember, well and good. Now the second way we'll do it. Second is using scanner class. Okay? So using scanner class we are going to learn. And while using scanner class you will come to know how these concepts are applicable. Okay, so don't worry, one by one I'll tell you. Now first of all, this scanner class is present in util package. Okay, scanner class present in util package. Okay, present in java.util package. Therefore, if you want to use that class, you have to import this package. Right guys? Because I hope you know that I've told you in the past, whenever you want to use any classes provided by someone else, so let it be, it can be Sun provided or some third party. But whenever you want to use any class, getting? So that class will be available in some package. You have to import that package. Getting? Except lang package. You remember, no? Java.lang. This is the only package which we don't import, because it also gets imported, but it is by default. It is default imported. You don't have to import. But other than lang, you have to. Getting? So if you want to use this scanner class, you have to import this. Means you have to write a statement, import java.util. Now if you are going to use only scanner class from that package, you can just write like this, java.util.scanner. So only that specific class will get loaded in some shared memory at runtime, and then your program will use that class from that shared memory. It is happening at runtime, please remember. It is not a pre-processing activity. In Java, dynamic concept is there, dynamic linking is there. Okay? It's not like C static linking. So you have to import it. Now, if I write star, will it import all the classes from that util package? Yes, sometimes it is waste of memory, because all the hundreds of classes are there in util, all will get loaded, and if you are not using all, you are going to use only selected, so there will be wastage, no? Of memory as well as the waste of time in loading them. So it is good practice to import the specific class only. Okay, so it's up to you how you are going to do it. Okay, so first step is, I hope, clear to you guys. Right? First step is clear to you that you have to import this package. Okay. Now next step is you have to create object of this scanner class. Okay. So first step is clear. Second step is you have to create object of class scanner. Now this point also you know that in Java, objects are declared and objects are instantiated. Means when I write scanner S, is the object created yet? No. Only object is declared on the stack. You understanding? Only that reference variable S is created. Because in Java, object means reference. Many times I have repeated that Java contains only two data types, primitive and non-primitive. And whoever goes in non-primitive, they all are references. And objects go in non-primitive category. They are not primitive. They are not built in. They are user defined. Getting? So S is just a reference variable, yet the reference has not come. Reference will come when you will create a copy of it on heap. Getting? So you have to create a copy of it. That you do it by new operator. I hope you know it. New scanner. Okay? So here what you are doing, you are creating an object of class scanner. What is new doing? New is allocating memory for scanner object. Means object of class scanner. Means in short, is it creating one copy of scanner class? Is it creating a copy of class scanner? Meaning, is it allocating memory needed for one scanner class object? Yes. Okay? So as much memory is needed for one scanner class object, that much memory is getting allocated because of new. Agreed guys? But remember, after allocating memory, once the memory is allocated, it gives call to one magic method. You can say a function which is called implicitly. You don't have to call it explicitly. And that function is called as a constructor. Getting? We will be discussing more about it in the appropriate chapter. Now just remember, new will allocate memory as much as needed for one scanner class object, but it will give call to one magic method. Now you'll say, what is magic method? Magic method means methods which are called implicitly. Understand, guys? Huh? Methods which we don't call explicitly using dot operator. Whenever I'll write object dot f, so this is not a magic method because you are calling it explicitly. Who? This f. So it's not a magic method. So magic methods means methods which are called implicitly. Programmer doesn't have to invoke it using dot operator. Okay, so here also once the object is created, it gives call to one magic method. You understanding, guys? It calls one magic method, and what is the name of that magic method? Constructor. Okay, but that constructor also takes, as it's a method, it will take some argument. Okay, so what is to be passed to it? So suppose you want to accept the input from keyboard, you have to give an object of input stream to it. Understand, guys? Huh? If you want to take the input from keyboard, then here we are supposed to pass an object of which class? Input stream class. Okay. Now you'll say, then how to create an object of it? So don't worry, what you have to do is you just have to pass in object. Okay, I'll explain all this in detail. You just have to pass in object, but in is the object of input stream and it is always connected with the keyboard. Okay, guys, and in is a static member of system class. Understand, guys? Huh? There is already a class system. If you remember, when I took first Java program, that time I explained you about system.out.println. If you remember that things clearly, you'll understand this also properly. Okay? See here, class system. Is this class already provided by Sun in Lang package? Yes, it's a Sun provided class in a Lang package. You don't have to define. But in this class, something like this has happened. See here, public, static, input stream, in. You understanding? See here, in is an object of which class? In is an object of input stream class. Getting, guys? But it is a member of which class? System class. Now it is belonging to whom? System class, but it itself is a copy of which class? Input stream. Like you people are objects of student class, but currently you are belonging to classroom. Let it be an online classroom, but you are belonging to classroom. And in means you, student means you are the object of class student. You understanding? Make the analogy like that. Okay? So in is the object of input stream. It is a static member of system class, and in is always connected with the keyboard. Don't bother about what is after this equal sign. They have written some logic by which this in is always connected with whom? Keyboard. Please understand. Okay? So tell me, first point, in is the object of, quickly fill in the blank. In is the object of which class?
Input stream.
Input stream. Second, it is a static member of which class?
System.
System. Right. Third, it is by default connected with
Keyboard.
Keyboard, very good. You are hearing me very properly, very good. So it is by default connected with keyboard. And the fourth point, yet I have not told, I'll quickly complete it. Fourth point is in reads stream of bytes. In read stream of bytes from the keyboard and supply it to the other stream which is piped to it. Pipe means connected to it. I'll draw a diagram of that too. It will be more clear to you. Understanding, guys? Its job is, work are already distributed. In job is so mechanical. It will do the work of reading stream of bytes from the keyboard. Okay, means though you are entering integer, so you know integer is in memory 4 byte, right? 4 byte integer. So it will convert that integer into 4 byte, give you double 8 byte. Getting character 2 byte Unicode. So it is reading the sequence of bytes from the keyboard and providing it to the other stream to which it is piped. Now common sense, you can see in is piped to whom? To scanner. Is in connected to the scanner. The job of in will be to read stream of bytes from the keyboard and supply it to the scanner. And scanner will provide it to your program. You understanding? Scanner's job will be to provide that value to your program. Now this part I'll delete because this you don't have to do it. This is already done. The 4 important points you have to remember. In is the object of input stream. Second, it is a static member of class system. It is always connected with the keyboard. And fourth, it reads raw bytes. That is, it reads sequence of bytes from the keyboard and supply to the other stream to which it is piped. Pipe means it is connected. Getting? Okay, so I hope you are clear. So diagrammatically I'll try to show you. So here you got it. What has happened is clear. Because of new first, which object is created? Scanner object. Scanner object got created. Then a magic method is called for that scanner object, called as constructor. Magic method means you know, a method which is called implicitly. You don't have to call explicitly. And who is that magic method here in this context? As I have written round bracket, one method is called constructor. And to that constructor this in is passed. Okay, and now finally the reference of that scanner object will come here. Okay, now what has happened internally, you can say like that. Okay, this is your keyboard. Okay, now to that keyboard who is connected? This is the stream. Okay, and I told you today in all the theoretical explanations which I gave in the past, I've told you what is a stream. It is a sequence of byte. But later I told it is just an abstraction, means it's an object which is acting as an interface between source program, destination. So this is that in object. You understanding, guys? In object, that stream, which is always connected with the keyboard. Getting? And then this in you have piped to which object? Scanner object. This is your scanner object. And reference of scanner object is with whom? With your Java program. Java program is having the reference of this. Getting? So your program will call the methods of this scanner object. You understanding, guys? Your program will call the methods of this scanner object. And that point also I told you that the methods take care of low level handling. You don't bother about how to deal at the low level. That methods will take care of it. Getting? And I'll try to prove how it is consistent also, polymorphic. Getting? See here. So this is your keyboard. Okay, and this I hope the UML diagrams and all last year you have studied. In second year you have done software engineering and all. So the role player. So you are going to hit the keyboard. Whatever you are hitting on the keyboard, that all are converted into stream of bytes, and that in reads, okay, and give it to the scanner. And program will call the methods of scanner and fetch the value in their variables. In your variables, you can fetch that value and copy it in your variables. You understanding, guys? How the concept is clear to you? Okay, this pictorial way is clear. So now I'll tell you the methods of that scanner. See here, scanner class, methods. Okay, so what are the methods? Means, you know, na, functions which are present in the class. Okay, and there is a abstraction mechanism. You don't bother about what is implemented in those methods. You just use them. You're not aware about what algorithm is implemented, how it is doing the work at the low level. That is kept hidden to you. Okay, so methods are like, if you want to read integer, so they have given next int. Okay, then if you want to read float, so they have given next float. So likewise, if you want to read double, they have given next double. Same way, if you want to read one string, next is given, but next will only read one string. Suppose you want to read the entire line, like I have entered, let us learn Java. Okay, so next will only read let, and only that let it will return as an object. Us learn one by one, one time, one string. But you want this whole line only as one string. Getting, guys? So for that they have given string next line. You understanding? Clear? So you have to use these methods now. Now in my program I'll write int I equal to s dot next int. So next int, next float, next double, next line. These all are methods of which class? Scanner class. So obviously who will invoke them? The objects of scanner. So I am invoking s dot next int. It will read one integer which is supplied to it by that in from the keyboard. And that integer is given to you in I. Means, is it converting that stream of bytes back again to integer? Yes. Getting? This is called as marshalling, unmarshalling, or serialized, deserialized concept. So all the bytes which are being read by in from the keyboard it will read the bytes and provide to scanner, and this method will convert that bytes into integer. You understanding? Clear? This way you can read a string, a line, it's up to you. Okay, now quickly I'll tell you this point, that IO is consistent, meaning let the source and destination be anything, the method of reading writing remains same. That I'll just try to justify so that you'll come to know how this IO handling is polymorphic. Getting, guys? See here, suppose this piping is changed. Getting? Then only what will happen? The source will change, but these methods will remain same. Okay, see here, guys, as an example I'll tell you. We will be learning that again into detail. Here I created an object of scanner class. Okay, but instead of passing input stream object, in is an input stream object, remember, but it is a member of system. Therefore, to access it, I am writing system.m. Okay, so suppose you want to read it from the file, stream of bytes you want to read from the file. Give file objects, means there are abstractions created for files also, like abstractions created for keyboard. So there are similarly abstractions for file as well. You understanding? Clear? So here you will give object of file reader, suppose. Now file reader class is already there. File reader class Java has provided. So you are creating an object of which class? See, as I have written new, but is it a nameless object? Nameless means you got no? Anonymous. Means you create an object, but you are not collecting the reference. Like as here we did. We created an object, but we collected the reference in S. Here we are creating the object, but we are passing the reference directly to scanner constructor. Means constructor of scanner class will take the reference of this object. Getting? Okay. So what we are doing is we are creating a file reader object, and to its constructor I am passing the name of the file, like test.txt suppose. Now after this, from that file, suppose you want to read an integer, the method is not going to change. Still the method will remain same. You understanding or no? So with this, what I'm trying to prove is clear to you. Here also the method name is next int only, but it is reading an integer from the keyboard. And here also the method name is next int only, but it is reading an integer from the file. In this context, it is going to read one integer from the file, and in this context, it is going to read it from the keyboard. You are understanding? So what I want to say is that is clear to you that IO in Java is consistent. It says let the source be anything, let it be keyboard, let it be file. The method of reading remains same. This is applicable for writing also. Correct? So polymorphic means you got the name is same, but the actions are different. Okay. So I hope it is clear. Now in this case, the piping will be how? The second technique. The piping will be like this. See, on the disk you have file. This is your disk file. Assume this is the disk file. Test.txt. Getting? Now, which stream is connected to this text.txt? This is the file, like keyboard place is taken by this file, test.txt. Okay, and who is connected to that file? That file reader object. See here, we created one file reader object, and to its constructor we have passed this test.txt. And the file reader object you have passed to scanner. Like here we passed input stream object to scanner, same way here I am passing file reader object to scanner. So ultimately next thing is same. Okay, still scanner object is same. Okay, who is connected to that scanner object? File reader object. And scanner object references with whom? Okay, scanner's reference is with whom? With your program. Understanding, guys? Okay? So again your program wants to read one integer from the file, or your program wants to read one integer from the keyboard. Is the method going to remain same? Here also you are going to write s.nextInt, here also s.nextInt. But in the background the piping is different, therefore the data coming will be from the different place. Is it clear to you? This characteristic says that Java is following polymorphism feature and IO is consistent. Now, if you have understood all this thing, then we can take one simple example using scanner. Okay? So please give me quick confirmation for this. All these ways are clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Others also? Others also, is it clear to you? Rutuja and Sanket and all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so mechanism is clear
Yes, sir.
to you. Mechanism, you got it, how to do the reading. So what we'll do is, we will take one very simple program. Okay, Abhishek is also saying yes. Okay, very good. Now, we'll take one very simple example of finding out max of 3 only. which we did in the past, but now through scanner will do. But consistency technique, you got it, no? How the piping is based on that. I'll show you example from file also, from keyboard also, don't worry. Okay, I'll just save it in your folders. I'll give name to it as, see, a max 3 in the past we have done. What I'll do is I'll give the name to it as scanner demo dot java. Okay? Now first step I have already told you, you have to import java dot util package. Now, Java is the main package, util is a sub package, and in that there is one class called scanner. So you can import specific that class, or you can write just star. Okay, then I'll write class scanner demo, and many times I have told you there is no hard and fast rule. The name of the class and the file name has to be same. That is generally same when the class is public. Okay, ठीक है. So class scanner demo. Then main we will write public static void main string args. ठीक है. Now in this main class we'll create an object of scanner class. So step number 1 we have already done. Step 2 we are doing. We are going to create object of scanner class equal to new scanner. Remember, only doing this much is not sufficient. It is just object declaration. It is as good as like creating a reference variable, but in that the reference has not come. Means it is like you have just created a provision to hang the key of your Harley Davidson bike. Getting? But the bike has not come yet. So bike will come in the parking when you'll do new. Got it? So new scanner. So now the memory needed for scanner class object is allocated. And then the magic method is called. Implicitly it will give call to one magic method called constructor, because we are writing round bracket. Remember, here there is a function call, and that is a magic method implicitly called. Okay? And what is the name of that magic method? Constructor. Okay, and to that you have to pass another object, that is system dot in. Actually we are just passing object of input stream, that is in. In is the object of input stream. That 4 important points you have to remember. In is the object of input stream. It is a static member of system. It is connected with the keyboard, and its job is to read the raw bytes from the keyboard and supply it to the other stream to whom it is piped. So here it is piped to scanner, so it will supply it to the scanner, and scanner will make it available to your program. Isn't it? Now I will accept 3 numbers, suppose. So I'll give some prompt before that. Right? Okay, enter first number, integer a equal to s dot next int. I told you. Same way you will give one more prompt, accept the value, again accept the value. Okay? So enter first number, enter second number, enter third number. Okay, and we'll store it in 3 different variables, A, B, C. Right? Then we will try to find out maximum of it. Right? So maximum you can find out by different ways. You can use your C technique, then you can use ternary operators, so many are there. I guess I have told you about ternary operator in the past. Yes or no? Question mark colon, I told you A colon A, question mark B colon C. You remember this? A is going to be the condition. If it is true, it will return the answer of B. Otherwise, it will return answer of C. So using that ternary operator also you can do it. Okay? I am writing integer max equal to First, I'm checking whether A is greater than B. If A is greater than B, true, I'm going to check whether A is greater than C. True, A is max, otherwise C is max. What do you say, guys? This is your condition, A greater than B. Yes, so this is the true part and this is the false part. Okay, but in the true part also again you are checking the condition. What? A greater than C. True, then A is max, otherwise C is max. In the false part I am checking. Getting? What? Now A is not greater than B, so at least check whether B is greater than C. True, then B is max, otherwise C is max. Now you got max, just display that. Okay, but I want to display in this way. First max should come, then a bracket, then whatever is the value of A, comma, value of B, comma, value of C, close bracket, equal, and whoever is the maximum. Getting? In this format I want. So I can use string concatenation concept. Do you remember this in Java? In past we have studied string concatenation operator, binary string concatenation. Getting? I hope you remember it. I'm going to write first like this, max round bracket. Is it one string? Then A, then another string, comma, then B, then comma, then C, then close bracket, equal, and then max. Are these all things going to get joined into one single string, guys? Yes or no? All these values will get concatenated into one single string. Getting? And while doing this concatenation from left to right, if there are values of other data type, they are also converted into string. So is this A, which is integer, going to get converted into string? Yes. Then string and string concatenated, then that string and this string concatenated, then again B converted to string. This will go on. Okay. Now let's close this main and close this class. Okay. And we will compile it and we'll try to run it. Simultaneously, if you are doing along with me, well and good. Getting? I will be really happy that you are doing simultaneously. You should get hands-on properly. Okay. See, I hope you are able to see this. I'll go to the folder TY 2021. First I'll write Javac. Okay, and the name of the program is Scanner Demo. Okay, now it is compiled. Now we will run it. Scanner Demo. Now is it giving you a prompt? It's waiting. Next int, it is waiting for you to enter something from the keyboard. Whatever you will enter through the keyboard, that is converted into bytes, and that in reads and supply to scanner, and scanner reads that bytes, convert to integer and provide it to your program. Getting? 45, 78, 34, whatever. Can you see the result? Max of 45, 78, 34 equal to 78. Getting? You can try giving input something else. Okay, 23, 90. Yes, guys? Okay? So just give me quick confirmation that whether you have understood this part.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Any queries regarding this? Or you are trying but you are facing problem? Just check. Sure. You have tried it. If you have tried, so if you're facing problem, just tell me. If not, if you're done with it, very good. Now let's move on with some more things. Okay, we'll try to solve some more questions. Okay guys, we will solve some exercises based on very simple things. Some things will be revision to C sort of thing. Okay, you are able to read these questions properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all of you, please, those who are attending, attend it consistently. Now those who are out of the track, now those who are leaving the group, and you know it, because they are not on the track. Now, so what they'll do, they don't have any option. Getting? So pity on them. But those who are consistent, please take benefit of it. Okay, I'm sure at the end you will thank me. Correct? I'm 100% knowing it. So those who are really regular, those who have attended it properly from lecture 1, please don't go out of the track. Maintain the track till the end. Getting? You'll understand everything properly, and you'll do very well in exam without taking help of Google. Getting? On your own confidence, you will be able to do it, and you can face interviews also very well. Okay? First example we'll take. Write a program called check, pass, fail. Okay? Now maybe in the next session or after 1 or 2 sessions, I'll show you how to do programs in Eclipse also. Okay? So what we'll do is, we will install, I'll show you how to install Eclipse, and then how to create programs in Eclipse also. It is a good practice to use IDEs. Okay? Now in this program, write a program called check, pass, fail, which prints pass if the integer variable mark is more than or equal to 50, or prints fail otherwise. Okay, so one integer variable you are going to create called mark. You will be accepting that mark from the user. Okay, and if the mark is less than 50, you have to print fail, otherwise you have to print pass. Very simple. So is it based on a simple if-else conditional statement? So now I am not teaching you them separately, because they are exactly same like C. As you have studied in C, the same way they behave. Okay, so I hope you might have studied in C if-else statement. If bracket condition you write, then you write some statements, and else you write else statement. Isn't it? So here what is checked? The condition is checked. If the condition is true, it is going to perform the if part, and or if block you can say. If it is a single statement, no need to put brace brackets. But if there are group of statements, group of simple statement, then group of simple statement is called compound statement or complex statement. Complex statements are indicated in Java by block. And how do we indicate block? By brace bracket. Not like Python. In Python, blocks are indicated by indentation. Here it is indicated by brackets. Okay, so it will test the condition true statement 1, false statement 2. That simple it is. Getting? So like mom is checking whether today is Monday. Yes, so she is going to make some snack items for you. Getting? Vada pav, samosa, sandwiches, whatever. But if it is not Monday, so she will make the traditional roti sabji. Getting? So chapati and sabji, that is the traditional one which is she is going to make. So depending on the condition, so she is checking whether the day is Monday. Yes, then she'll prepare snack items, else she'll prepare the regular item. Getting? I'm just trying to relate it. Everywhere you see if else. Everywhere in our day-to-day life there is if else. So programming is also not excuse, because programming is basically inspired only from the real world things. Okay, so hope you can implement that using if and else. What do you say, guys? Only one thing you have to remember, that the condition which I wrote now over here, if condition, that condition strictly, see here, strictly has to be a Boolean expression. Getting? Nothing other than that. Because some languages like Python or C or C++ allow other data types also. Like if it is C, and in that if you write if 100 is valid in C, it is 100% valid, because C treats non-zero as true and 0 as false. Same is the case with Python also. Java doesn't say. Java says here you have to give, Java is a strict data type checking language, strict type checking language. We have studied it in the features also. In the past when we took features of Java, Java is robust and secure. If you remember, in that I have told you Java does strict type checking, strict compile time checking, runtime checking. Here if you write if 100 in Java, it will give an error. Getting? It will say incompatible type and found integer required Boolean. Strictly you need to have a Boolean. You are understanding? Okay? So you got it. Means you need to have an expression over here which evaluates to Boolean. Means suppose if I call some method in it, tell me if, okay, if, and here I am writing cat dot or money dot is away. If I am writing like this, okay, if money dot is away. So is it allowed to write like this also, money dot is away? Means I am calling a method inside that condition. Yes, only the criteria is away's return type should be, the return type of is away should be Boolean. So if the return type of is away is Boolean, it will allow you, no problem. Getting? Okay? The concept I hope is clear. Now you just have to write that program. Let's say quickly you'll write the program. Then we'll take some programs on loops also, while loop, do while loop, for loop, nested loops, all, so that all that concepts of C will get revised in Java. Okay, and then we have to move to arrays concept, lot things in Java we have to learn. Okay, so I'll save this program with the name check pass fail. Okay guys, check pass fail dot Java. Okay, then import, first step I have to write import java dot util dot scanner, then class check pass fail, public static void main string args, then I'll create an object of scanner class, new scanner, system.in. Please understand guys, whenever they will ask you anytime in interview and all, what this you have written, please explain us. You should not tell that, okay, if I don't write this it won't run. You have to write like this is the syntax. Don't give such rubbish answers. Tell that what is in, what is the responsibility of it, to whom it is connected, it is object of which class, it belongs to whom, then this object you have passed to whose constructor, all that you have to tell. Okay, now we have to accept marks from the user. System.out.print. Print and println I hope you know now. I don't have to tell you difference between print and println. Enter marks. Okay, integer mark variable is there. s.nextInt. And then they have said like if mark is less than 50 or greater than, see here, more than or equal to 50, pass, otherwise fail. So can I use these relational operators? We have studied relational operators guys. Relational operators we have studied or no in the past?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please keep giving confirmation. Interaction has to be there, though it is an online class, but interaction has to be there. Okay, you should keep interacting. Okay, so is this if else right? As in, if only one statement I was going to do, in else one statement, I didn't wrote bracket. Okay, so whenever you will run it, it will create a scanner object connected to input stream, which is connected to keyboard. This prompt message will come, then it will read one integer from the keyboard, give it to you in marks. Then you are checking whether mark is greater than 50. Yes, so you'll display pass, otherwise fail. Right? Let's compile it. Javac check pass fail. Java check pass fail. Enter. Suppose I am giving 56. It is giving pass. I am giving 45. Is it giving fail? So they are the test cases. They are called as test case. Okay. Similarly, can you people try for the second one, which is also somewhat on the same ground, if else category only. Only here the condition was very simple. We were just writing condition as less than or greater than equal. Here you have to use arithmetic operator also. See here, write a program called check odd even, which prints odd number if integer variable number is odd or even number otherwise. So how do you check whether the number is even or odd? Can anyone tell me? No? Yes guys, I'm expecting answer from you. How do we check whether the number is even or odd? Very simple technique is there. No? No one is remembering? Yes, Shreya, Sanket. Yes, my dear students.
If else divisibility.
If else, so you have to do. I am checking how to, I am asking you how to check whether the number is odd or even. So it is by checking divisibility. Divisibility with what? 2. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So whatever your number is, mod 2, and if the remainder is 0, it is, if the remainder is 0, it is even, otherwise it is odd. Right or no guys? So now in this case, is the arithmetic and equality inequality both going to take place? So who is having more precedence? Equality or arithmetic? First what will be done? This equality check is done or arithmetic is checked for? Yes? Again, don't answer, first think and answer. Arithmetic guys. Then I was surprised why someone told like this. Correct? Mod operator is a arithmetic operator which is having more precedence here. Correct? And after arithmetic is done, then the equality is checked. Equality, inequality. The inequality, equality is having lesser precedence than arithmetic. So slight change you have to do in the same code. So what I'll do is I'll just save it, save as, and they have said give the class name as check odd even. So I'll give name as check odd even dot Java. I'm just saving it with that name. Okay. So here we'll change it, check odd even. Right? Then scanner object, then we have enter number, isn't it? Int variable, number is odd or even. So here we'll give enter number. Then they have said create one variable called number only, integer variable number. Now I'll check the condition. Number mod 2 double equal to 0. The number you are going to divide by 2 and whatever remainder comes, that remainder you are comparing it with 0. So when you divide by 2, the remainder is going to be either 0 or 1. Isn't it? It can be either 0 or it can be either 1. So if it is 0, so 0 equal to 0, true, it will print even or odd, whatever. So here it should be even number. And here the output should be odd number. Okay? I hope the concept is clear. Then we will be seeing about switch case and all, also loops, all the things we will try to attempt. Okay? So JAVAC, check odd even, Java, check odd even. It's asking for the number. I'll give 23. The 23 mod 2 is 1. Right or no? So is 1 equal to 0? No. So it will print odd. Okay? And suppose I am giving 12. So 12 mod 2 is 0. 0 equal to 0. Therefore, even number. Right? Hope it is clear. Right? Now the third one they are saying, write a program called print number in Word, which prints 1, 2, ... 9 other if the integer variable number is 1 to 9 or other. But to solve it, they are saying use nested if or use switch case. Means you can say ladder if or multiple if. More than one conditions are there. Getting? Like when you have one condition, if condition 1, you'll perform statement 1. And false, so you'll directly perform statement 2. But we don't have only two paths. Means if the condition 1 is true, we'll perform this. But if false, so we have another condition to check. If that is also false, we have still another condition to check. You understanding? So in that case, what we do, to every else, we attach a if else. Means to every else. This is if else. So to that else, I am going to attach a if else. See here. If condition 2, statement 2, else. Now to this if else, I am going to attach a if else. And this way you can go on with any number of what conditions. So I am going to put a dot in between, dot to tell that condition 1, 2, 3, till else if condition n.
Debug.
Clear? That is statement n, and finally statement n plus 1. Getting, guys? Okay? Yes or no? So today you might have like there's an holiday and you have decided some plan on that holiday. Yes, kuch to karenge yaar. Clear? So now with your friends you do the plan. But the main thing is that plan is decided on the pocket money. How much is your pocket money? Based on that you are going to decide. So first you will check whether the pocket money is greater than 1000. So that will be one condition. So if your pocket money is more than 1000, true, then you'll go for a movie. Getting? Now from long back theaters are closed, but now they are saying soon they are going to open it. So many might be excited now when we will go to big screens and all and watch the movie. So sure it will happen, don't worry, everything is going to be fine soon. So condition 1 is pocket money greater than 1000, true, statement 1. And what is statement 1? Go to movie. But if the pocket money is not greater than 1000, they will come and check the second condition, whether pocket money is greater than 500. Yes, so we'll go to a cafe or a restaurant. Getting? We'll go to a cafe or a restaurant. But if that is also not true, So else, because I'm assuming these conditions are not there, only one condition. 2, now your pocket money is not greater than 500 also. So else I'll say stay at home. Getting? Stay safe at home. So this way, what I want to say, such situations occur in real life also. They are in programming also. Okay. So how the checking will go on is clear. First it will check condition 1. True, it will perform statement 1. But if false, it will go and check 2. If true, it will perform 2. No, to go and check next. Suppose it is running statement n. Means it indicates condition n has come true and all the past conditions have come false. And that's the reason n is running. Why n is running? Because condition n has come true and all passed. And suppose statement n plus 1 is running, means it indicates what? All the past conditions have come false. Getting? So on the basis of this, you have to solve this exercise. Getting? And then I'll tell you how to solve the same thing using switch case also, an alternative to multiple if else. Right guys? Okay? So can you solve this quickly? Within 2 minutes you can do, and then we will wind up with this session. Okay? So we will save it. The program name is print number in Word. Okay? Print number in Word.java. I'll just change the class name. Otherwise, a lot of things are same. Print number in Word. Okay. Then I'll give you a message. Enter number between 0 to 9. Single digit number only. Okay. Now we will start with, if the number is equal to 0, we will give message as 0. Getting? Otherwise, we'll check whether number is 1. Yes, so we will print 1. Okay? And this way, now copy paste I'm going to do. Okay? You know it. 1, then first I'll change to 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this last is going to be else part. Okay, where I'll give message as other, because your input is not from 0 to 9. So here I'll give 9. Quick changes I'll do. 8, 7, 1. Okay? Right guys, concept of if else is clear to you. We will just run it, javac, check